4 of RSA 2025 in San Francisco, and I'm delighted to welcome back my guest, Dr. Amit Elazari, the CEO and co-founder of Openpolicy. Lovely to see you again.
It's amazing to be here. Congratulations.
It's so great to have this set up. We're able to connect with guests that have been on the podcast before, and we've also been seeing the hub and the excitement of RSA. Have you had a good week?
Oh my God, it was a phenomenal week.
Yeah.
We had great events with policymakers, with government stakeholders. We did one event with Armis Federal, which was the highlight of the week, so I can talk about that as well. And it's been great. It's been great for open policy, but I also think that there is a recognition, that awareness of where regulation policy is going to go is more important than ever.
100%.
And for Armis, I mean, I think, you know, with the Volt Typhoons, with the infrastructure, with everything being connected, there has never been a better time for Armis. This is the conversation of the year. Like, how do we see all these assets and get them protected?
Yeah, and it has been a really big discussion this year. We're going to talk about AI and the impact of AI and regulation later on. But I think one of the things we've noticed this week is just the conversation of how it's moved on since last year. And when you joined me at the first series of Bad Actors at the tail end of last year, you talked about launching a new policy platform. You've been working with Armis for a while now. And one of the things that is evolved, I think, over the last couple of months with the change of the current administration in the US is obviously we have Public Sector Day on Monday. The conversation is definitely a big talking point here. How do you see that dynamic evolving over the next couple of months?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, you know, just to kind of make our audience aware, Openpolicy, partner of Armis, you're our customers. We love it. We are a platform company, an AI company that is scaling the government affairs and the policy expertise, allowing companies of all sizes, unicorns, to really connect what's coming into policy into their go-to-market, into their product, and also scale coalition-based influencing and influence and participating in the conversation. And here's what we're seeing. It's time of uncertainty. Policies are being changed, but AI is top of mind. Securing, you know, the infrastructure is top of mind. So being able to be ahead of the curve and seeing all of that, participating in the conversation and kind of being a leader in the ecosystem like Armis is doing has never been more important. So some of the things we have seen on AI, we know it's a top priority for this administration to adopt AI to be ahead of the adversaries. We are moving into remediation. We are moving into early warning and predictive and being proactive, right? To be able to have that very strong defensive, right? As a solid approach to create that deterrence. So this is a big thing. The other thing we've been seeing is a big focus on operational technology and Internet of Things, right? So that has been coming in from the last year from the National Defense Authorization Act. It's a topic that Armis testified on in Congress, in Texas recently, right? And this is a critical conversation. And I would say the last thing we have seen is that at this time of uncertainty, people are coming together, right, to educate the government, to explain what's needed, what are the gaps. And this is a really critical, you know, component. And it's just phenomenal to see how Armis is, you know, the convener, you know, bringing in the ecosystem. And we are proud to be a part of that.
That's amazing. And I had Nadir on the podcast earlier on in the week, and we were talking a lot about the responsibility of this community to educate and sort of inform people of the geopolitical threat and what that looks like from an attack surface perspective. But I think what you're touching upon here is also a regulatory conversation at the very, very top of government.
Absolutely.
And also the connections with the Five Eye governments around the world.
Absolutely.
So we can try and encourage people to come together and defeat the adversaries.
Absolutely. I mean, just this week, we hosted with Armis, Openpolicy and Armis with our ecosystem that, you know, also includes Wiz and Census and many other players in IoT and OT, a conversation with the FBI, with the Interpol, talking about the threats, talking about the importance of international collaboration. And, you know, it is this time where industry really is stepping up as a connective tissue. And we are talking about education. This is not just educating the CISOs, the industry. The work that is being done with policymakers that are defining the future of requirements, the future of, you know, direction of what we're going to be focusing in from a budget perspective. That is, you know, very, very important because that impacts the entire ecosystem. So I think policymakers have come here to RSA a little bit smaller presence from U.S. government just because we're still in confirmations, right, for a lot of the main agencies, but big international presence, some U.S. presence, and being able to, you know, be a kind of expert and work with them, that has been phenomenal.
And I wanted to talk to you specifically because you're at the very, very forefront of policy decision-making, conversations that are happening at the very, very top. The buzzword of RSA this year was, of course, AI, but linking that with some very deep concerns from some aspects of the conference around the guardrails being removed from some of the new technologies coming out of China, deep seek. There's some new forms of threat that are just literally the guardrails have gone. So how do you balance the nature of that regulatory that idea and the fact that policymakers do need to put some sort of regulation in place, but we're also seeing technology innovation expand at such a rate that no one is keeping up?
You know, that is such a great question. So what we have seen with this administration is really a focus on embracing AI adoption as a critical need for national competitiveness, national security, and productivity. At the same time, we are starting to see the guardrails. So let's just take one example. The executive order on AI from the Biden administration was revoked. Already last month, we have seen the Trump administration, Office of Management of Budget, already releasing a memo starting to put guardrails in place for how federal agencies are going to need to adopt AI. And that memo does talk about looking at the software, looking at the guardrails. It even mentions responsible AI. It talks about AI verification. It talks about remediation. So we are starting to see those things getting rolled out. And NIST frameworks are actually really important as well. And, you know, we had NIST as well, you know, during RSA, the attended RSA. There was discussion. So I think, you know, we will see an evolution there. And I think what's important to our audience to remember, and I know this is something very exciting for Armis, which is expanding its global footprint, right, in Europe, is we also need to acknowledge that there are going to be global regulations like the UA Act, like the EU Cyber Resilience Act that are being DORA, that are being implemented. And there are controls there that are going to be very relevant. So I don't view the AI conversation as 0 as 1 as much as we thought it might be. We are starting to see the rollout of stuff here in the US. And it's just an exciting time to be on the cutting edge of innovation. And this is maybe why I'm so proud to be working with Armis, among others, but also my message to the audience. You cannot innovate it right now in a customer-obsessed manner in security without being tapped into policy. Because in AI, the policies are changing as we speak. So as you're building products, as you're integrating, you want to be aware of the policy, because that's also a piece of what security products are helping the buyer with. So,
and it should be part of your roadmap, as you say, because
absolutely,
if you have a clear vision of where governments are going to go or where they want people to innovate, that will enable organizations to benefit from that strategy.
Absolutely. Whether you're selling to the government or the commercial, ultimately the buyers are impacted by policy, even policies that are not just relevant to the governments, but things that are applicable to financial sector, health, the entire sector. So being policy aware, in my view, is also being customer obsessed. And so this is one of the things we are doing with Open Policy. And I think innovators that are leaning into policy in terms of ecosystem and all the work with Tom Granata and all the influence, but also being aware of what's coming, working hand in hand with the CTO, with the CPO. It's just a phenomenal opportunity.
Yeah. And it's interesting as we evolve and look forward to the rest of this year. RSA is always marked as the beginning of the sort of cybersecurity calendar of events and conversations as we roll digital transformation projects and organizations start looking at the budget. I think we'll see a big leap forward in the next 6 months or so of new innovative ideas of how to install the roadmap solutions that we've been discussing at RSA this week.
I'm so glad you raised this point. I think we have started to see the movement of what I called automated governance and policy as code. The regulatory fragmentation is overwhelming for the CISOs. They are looking for the solution providers to help them in that mission. And as part of that is taking all the intelligence that is used also to defend, but also to support compliance, and bringing those artifacts to one fabric and being able to support by creating that picture, but also the almost like the audit trail. So I know this is a big piece of Centrix and the Armis platform that you already have, kind of frameworks that are helping, stakeholders not just to, protect themselves, but also address those mandates. And I think this is going to be a bigger and bigger demand signal. That's one of the reasons why it's so important to be ahead of the policy, to have that time to productize. And I do feel like people that are going to have organizations, innovators that are going to have policy as part of their product and policy that is also well implemented and accurate as a differentiator.
Yeah, it's definitely something that we're considering, and as we roll out other products later on this year, compliance and risk is going to be at the heart of all of that. What is going on for the rest of the year for Open Policy? You're a very busy woman. I greatly appreciate your time. What's coming up in the next 6 months?
Well, we appreciate armies. We getting a lot of feedback. Right, this is from folks like Tom and sales organizations, CMOs, and what we released this RSA is a new prioritization feature that really helps consider, okay, all these policies are coming out, but what's relevant for this product, that product, this stakeholder, help with the go-to-market, do the go-to-market as well, whether it's sales talking points, solution briefs, one pager. So that's pretty exciting for us. And we are also starting to go into the world of federal procurement, right? More agents there, and above all, our coalition, like being able to be growing and have a strategic voice with policymakers that are bringing that is deep security technical expertise. We've seen broad adoption. So we've been a year in it with the product, a little bit more as Open Policy, and we are just running. And we've grown tremendously in the last month and a half or so for folks that are tracking us on LinkedIn, and just the RSA was really good for us. So I'm excited. And I'm thrilled about this partnership.
Yeah, no, we are too, and I love spending time with you. I'm very grateful for your time. Final thing about RSA, it's coming to an end. We've had an amazing week. What's been your highlight? If I could pin you down to the one key thing, what did you enjoy the most?
Spending time with our government ecosystem and spending time with our customers, which thankfully to me, it came together. So we had a great event with Armies Federal, hosted here with conversations, right? And that was phenomenal. Getting feedback, doing this, and the release of some new features, having our team here, our growing team, and connecting with a growing ecosystem. This is for me the highlight. And maybe just one final note, I think there is a growing recognition. When we started this, I had the vision that even stealth level startups, like very small companies, would want to know about policy because they're designing 6-7 months ahead. And now we're seeing this, like companies need this awareness, and we are excited to deliver this rare expertise that was, before AI, just something that only small amount of very large organization afford, and democratize access to an amazing community of innovative companies of all sizes. So we are just getting started. And this is, I'm excited.
I'm really excited for you. You've had phenomenal growth. You've developed in a big way over the last 6 months. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And thank you for your time.
You got it. Oh, maybe one last piece. Got amazing feedback on my nails. So this is the Army's purple with the Open Policy logo. So these are coming back next year too.
Oh, wonderful. I look forward to it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.